You are now listening to Talk is Cheap FM. Brought to you by Bet the Tuesday.
Talk is cheap, motherfucker.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is another episode of Talk is Cheap FM. I am your host, Baba Tuesday. We all up in this. This is how we do. Yes, we probably had a happy holidays and everything. This is probably beginning of the year, so we're going to start a new topic, which is consent. How far do men need to take consent to protect themselves? I have a caller on the line, and we are about to discuss this. So let's see if he's still on the line. He's been on the line for like 6 minutes. So let's get this thing rolling. Yo, you there?
Yo, man, what's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm sorry I had you on hold for about forever. My bad. Hopefully I'm not eating up your minutes. But anyways, man. You like, no, man, shit. This is your opportunity to introduce yourself before we jump into this subject. So the platform is yours. Here you go.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Name is Donald. Coming out of OKC, living in Houston, Texas. Just here representing, holding it down for my man Bob.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, listen, we're going to talk about consent. How far does a man need to take consent to protect himself? Right. I want you to open up, I guess this conversation with your thoughts on that.
So the answer is it's simple though, right? How far should a man go in terms of consent? I think a man should go as far as he is willing to protect his life. Like how much do you value? Your assets of yourself. It's nothing wrong with wanting to protect yourself. I think everybody should do it. I don't think it's just a man thing. I think women should do it as well. And in reality, today's time, you might as well look at it like it's a business deal. You don't just go in and sign contracts without reading them. You make sure everything gets squared away. So I think men should take the initiative to make sure that what they're doing now is not a setup for a future problem.
Yep. Yeah. You know what? I agree. You said a lot of stuff in there. You're talking about business contracts. You got to make sure your P's and Q's, your lines are crossed, your I's are dotted. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. This is what I'm thinking about. Of course, you always, as a man, I feel you're going to be guilty until proven innocent, just because you're a man. And not to even pull the race card, but this actually plays a part in how I see everything. Like being a black dude, being a black man, like you got to be fucking very careful. You know what I mean? Not only are you on the beach of Saving Private Ryan and people getting shot, there's goddamn landmines everywhere. So it's fucking double trouble, right? And you got to watch out for snipers. But that's how I look at this whole thing. Listen, it's almost to the point where, is it worth it to even be persistent with a chick? Because, she can easily say you're harassing her if she don't like you. But at the same time, if she does like you and you are persistent, she's not going to call harassment on you. So it's a risky game. And I don't know if it's even, this day and age, I don't know if it's even worth playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Shit. Hey, see, I'm talking to somebody who agrees with a lot of shit that I say. All right. So, how do you think this is going to play into the future? Right? Because on my Facebook, I don't mean to paraphrase myself because I didn't write it down. But I put something along the lines of, are dudes going to separate themselves or avoid women in the future? Just because of all this. And here's the thing. Here's two things you have to take into consideration, right?
Okay.
Laws that are being placed right now, like basically allegations that can ruin a man's life, especially if it's false allegations, and then also the advancement of technology, right? Those things play a part in the future that people aren't thinking about, right? So if we as a society really start like pointing fingers at dudes, and I'm not saying, I'm like, yeah, there's some dudes that's fucked up out there, right? But I'm not going to get it twisted and say like every allegation is true, or there's going to be a gray area, because let's not even act like some chicks take advantage of their sexualities to get positions of power or whatnot, or whatever position they want, right? But you have laws that, you could be, there's not even due process, right? If she says you did it, and whatever. But then on the other side, you have technology where, goddamn, you about to have sex robots and artificial wombs and shit, So in the future, I'm not going to tell you in the future where I think, but taking those two, attributes into the future, how do you think this might play out?
So far as the notion of men distancing themselves from women, I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. One, as we saw, there's 7 billion people on the planet. That number keeps rising. I think what's going to happen is that men are going to start making more intelligent, more logical decisions in their actions and their interactions with women. And so, you said technology, and you actually took it down a different path. I haven't really investigated the whole sex bots and things like that. But that's one thing we know about artificial anything, is that artificial anything will never, ever measure up to the real deal. Like, I promise you, Kool-Aid versus Flavor Aid, it'll never taste the same. You can never make that Flavor Aid taste just like Kool-Aid. It's just not going to happen. But I do believe in a world of technology, it's really cool technology. So another one, I think that both men and women should create a paper trail. I know we do a lot of verbal interaction. Like you and I are talking verbally right now, but however, you're actually creating a paper trail because it's digital. You're about to record this. This is going to sit somewhere on your hard drive. It's going to go to the internet, things like that. And so I really think that, men and women need to not create paper trails just to set people up, but say, hey, this is, our transcripts of interaction. This is how whatever. But I also think that both parties need to be truly honest with each other's intentions. If your intentions is just for pleasure principle, just, hey, come out and say, hey, look, this is what I want. This is what, what's going on, whatever. And you should just put yourself in a position of everyone knowing what's going on and stuff like that. So it's a difficult war for men, but I think as men, we automatically know that we are the aggressors of society. We dominate society in a way. We are the hunters and gatherers. And because that's been our nature since the beginning of time, we know that there also comes a responsibility and a consequence of being the aggressors in society, the ones that push moves. So you're going to have to know, I think men in the future are going to have to know when and how to make those moves. I know we like to play the game of cat and mouse and being consistent and being on the chase, but at some point, no just simply needs to be no. Not a, well, I'll keep trying and I'll keep trying and I'll keep, no. No means no. If you say, hey, you go to McDonald's and say, I want a number 2, and then they ask, do you want an iced tea with it? And you say no, and they keep going, are you sure you don't want an iced tea? You keep saying no. They're like, I really think you want an iced tea. You're going to get pissed off, right? Even though they're being consistent, you really don't want the iced tea. So that's my whole thought on the future. Men are not going to distance themselves. I think men are just going to be more calculating and upfront with the type of woman they want to deal with and the woman that they're actually dealing with.
All right. You said a whole lot of stuff in there, brother. You said a whole lot of stuff. By the way, nobody make iced tea better than my grandma. You know what I mean? So I would be like, no. As a matter of fact, I want water because when I get home to grandma's house, I'm going to eat this number 2 and I'm going to drink the iced tea from my grandma's house. That's choice. That's my choice. That's what I want to do. But here's the thing. Okay, one, let me touch on this pleasure principle, right? Pleasure principle, when I first heard it, yes, I thought about Janet Jackson jumping on the chair and shit, yes. But here's the thing. You can start off saying like, listen, this is just physical or whatnot. And a chick might agree with that. But I've been in the position, and you probably have too, where then emotion starts getting involved, right? And then she wants to be in a relationship and you're like, no, right? And there's been some articles that I've read where, chicks try to set dudes up, yeah, this is just sex and everything. And then, want to throw like a relationship on them and then shit hits the fan because, she falsely accused other dudes, right? So having a paper trail, yes, it's important. But here's the thing. Sometimes paper trails don't even hold up in the court of law. You know what I mean? Sometimes paper trail, like you can have like evidence. Like you can have evidence of like, yo, she said she did this. Then that very next day she was happy. Boom, 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 boom. But then if you go to court, that might not even, hold up in the court of law. I've like, to be honest with you, I feel that, like, when it comes to, like, the court, and if it's a woman versus a dude, the woman, even if she's in the wrong, she's probably going to get a slap on her wrist. And if the dude is wrong, shit, he's going to be put under jail. You know what I mean? I think, and the logical thing in the future, how I feel is, like, you're right, man. There probably won't be anything better than, that actual interaction with a human being. However, logically, I think a dude would feel like, listen, I can have full control of my freedom. I can have a child without dealing with a baby mama. And I can have sex with an inanimate object that won't bitch at me whenever I get home, and I don't have to hear these goddamn stories about what happened to her while she was at her job and shit that I don't care about. I think that does outweigh the whole let me be with a chick and everything. Logically, that makes sense to me. And this is why I say, like, I honestly feel like dudes are just going to be like, yo, like, I don't need to be around these women. Like, I got, like, and it's going to get to the point, like, people think, when I think about the future of, like, AIs and shit like that, I'm thinking about, like, Weird Science. You remember that movie, Weird Science? Like, it's actually living and breathing and shit. Not like these crazy-ass robots that we used to see, like, back in the 90s. And it's getting a lot better and better, right? So, we will, like, that's how I feel. I'm just like, yo, shit is about to hit the fan. Shit is about to hit the fan, and if these robots and AIs are really implemented in our society, women, they're going to be fucked, really. Like, especially when dudes are not scared of being shamed. Because in the beginning, like, I told people, like, listen, man, I'm going to get some fleshlights, some artificial vaginas and assholes or whatnot. And I'm going to see how it feels. Like, I'm open about mine. Like, I don't have anything to hide, right? And, people make fun of me or whatnot, but it doesn't bother me. I just want to see how it feels, right? But when dudes go that route and they're just hell-bent on, listen, I want my freedom. I want to do what I want to do in my way, and I don't want to hear any nagging or anything. And I don't care about being shamed, then I'm going to be over here separated, and that's it,
Yeah.
Well, shit.
So, the way I look at this is a few things. Is, one, we have to be cautious and careful of who and what we see women as. Do we see women simply as the people that we see for just only sexual gratification? Do we see them as people that are equal, or are they people that can enhance our life? Because what we have to also watch out is really classifying women as these entire groups of individuals that seek to really destroy men just because they have some sociological capability of doing such. But then also in this game of pleasure, we really are rolling the dice, all of us, man and woman. We roll the dice really against some, I'll say, deity principle, right? Because I'm not going to assume that everyone listening is a Muslim, everyone is Christian, everyone, but we all have some acknowledgement, or most of us, some higher being. And with that, there really comes some structure of sexuality is to be explored in the confines of marriage. And maybe this God guy knew what the hell he was talking about when he said don't do this, because look at all of the madness that ensues when we take this path of filling our own fleshly desires. So my thing really is we are rolling the dice every time we engage in the use of our sexuality with someone else outside of the confines of marriage, which makes things a little different and makes things very interesting. So, that's one way to look at it, but and also the notion of, people looking at an artificial means of seeking sex or fulfilling their sexual desires. I think for men, you'll probably see an increase in that, even though the separation from women will not decrease. It's just like women. Women have their own toys for whatever principles they have while we still interact with men. So the type of duality they possess in interacting with the physical form and then just filling their own desires by themselves, I think some men will go that route. Of course, naturally in a male-dominated society, a hyper-masculine one, that's not going to be so openly talked about. A guy like you're so chill, you don't give a damn that you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go home and knock out this, iRobot real quick. And
I'm
that's
about
what it is. But, I think it's going to be... I think it's going to be, more on, the DL with things like that. But I think overall, it'll, what people see in the future, in terms of sex bots and things like that, it's no telling. But then again, if you are, as you rise in power, and we assume that by power we mean
status,
affluency, money,
yeah,
celebrity, or social status, as those all increase, then what you have to lose in terms of earthly possession is increased. Right? If you just do work at McDonald's, you really ain't got much to lose. But if you are like the COO at AT&T, you're in the spotlight. So you run a risk of losing some things. I think as that goes, I believe the severity of communication has to go up and things of that sort, because we see it all the time. Like we see it in the world of athletes, the world of artists, the world of just the wealthy. There's always that story, wealthy person, they get caught with the wrong person, they get dragged off the court, they pay them off a bunch of millions of dollars. But at the exact same time, we cannot also assume that every time an allegation occurs, it's this, here we go again, nothing really happened. And I think you have to look at everything on a case-by-case basis. I think a lot of people like to look at things from a perspective of, they like to look at it from a perspective of, they want to create a statistical likelihood that this is true, that this is fake and stuff like that. But my thing is, each case has to be presented by you and I went to Oklahoma State University, and we always know the typical story of the athlete and the allegation. The athlete and the allegations. Well, depending on who you know and what happens affects, the side of the story. But then again, you have to each case
Yeah, case by case. Yeah, case by case. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, man. Like, I was brought up. I'm a black dude in America. So whenever I was brought up, like, my folks would tell me, like, listen, you got to be very fucking careful out here fucking around with these chicks. They didn't say it as eloquent as that, but they were like, listen, you just got to be careful messing around with these chicks because, I mean, you're black and you can get in trouble. And, you know, of course, like, I would say, I don't like to assume, but I would say a majority of black kids in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s heard, like, listen, you're a black kid, these white chicks will get you in trouble, right? But fortunately enough, my folks was like, all chicks could get you in trouble, right? So that's how I was brought up, like, listen, you got to just watch your back, you know, which is crazy. Because, yeah, sometimes, well, I used to have unprotected sex sometimes. Thank God, like, I haven't had a kid or anything like that. So, I can't even trust myself. You know what I mean? So, now, I'm at the point where I'm just like, I'm weighing out the pros and cons, right? And I'm just like, listen, man, I do love females, right? As just kind of, as physical beings, as sexual beings, I just love everything about females. But at the same time, it's like I got to be very, 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 very fucking careful. Like, I really do. And, like, the way I'm living my life now, I'm almost like a ghost in plain sight because I don't show none of my assets. I'm a regular, you know, I'm not flashy or anything. So I do get overlooked by a lot of chicks, right? But then I have chicks approach me, but I'm still very careful and I don't get caught up in all that bullshit, right? So here's the thing, man. Different people view females differently. Some feel like women are here to just destroy men and destroy society and shit, and they can present evidence, right? Some people feel like they're just sexual beings. Some people feel like they're equal. Some people feel like it isn't. You know, I think it's really all up to the person. But one thing that social media and technology has done is shown, like, the dark side of everybody, right? There's good girls out there I see on Instagram that kind of show a little bit of sluttiness, right? And I'm not here to slut shame. I'm glad that, you know, feminism and the slut walk is at an all-time high because now it's like a sexual revolution during the technology age, and pussy is at an all-time low. Like, I can go out and smash and grab like a plethora of vagina, but I choose not to, right? So I do want to thank everybody that's involved with that. Thank you very much. There's a lot of players out there who are just getting their dick wet every fucking day. Go get checked out. But with that said, I feel that a majority of women do use their sexuality to put themselves in positions, right? And it could easily be flipped and blamed on the guy. That's how I feel. So that's why it was smart for you when you said to have a paper trail and everything. Because I kid you not, bro. I was in the studio doing a podcast, and I went into the kitchen area, and one of the chicks that I was doing a podcast with fucking just, like, looked at me sexually, right? And nobody was in the kitchen, bro. And she fucking, like, grabbed my hips and, like, pushed me towards her. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't think nothing much about it. But if I did that same thing, I could be fucking beat up and put in jail. You know? It's a double standard.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I think we as men have to, we almost have to, not even almost, we need to detour from this whole, well, if she can do it, I can do it. We know that there's one thing for sure on at least this side of the hemisphere, in the New World, in the Western world, is that women have sexual dominance, and meaning that they have the ability to be the aggressor. Now, we seem to dominate the society from money to business to even the overall construct of society, but the ability for sexual aggression is not tolerable in a modern era. And as a result, men have to realize that, one, you can just accept it as it is. They're used to trying to change laws and things like that because the court's really probably not going to rule in favor. So if you are walking down the street or you're in the club, I mean, you've been in the club like I have, and women can touch and grab anything they feel like, and they think it's okay.
Yeah.
And likewise, the reverse cannot happen. However, to say accept it and move on would really be the same thing as telling women to accept it and move on. But at the exact same time, we realize that as men, we have to be the leaders, right? If we're just talking from a classical standpoint, we're not talking about we're being greater, but as some notion that most societies view men as the leaders, the one that takes charge. You know, being a leader sometimes means just being the bigger man. And no, you can't just, grab a lady and, grab her by the hips or, push up on her. You have to really be delicate. But the question is men even have the same sexual equality, or in terms of the ability to maybe get away with some things? Would we really engage it? I mean, would you really get out on the streets, grabbing girls by the hips and pulling them close to you? You lose the magic of it, right? The mystery of it all.
Yeah.
And so I think we as men have to just, one, you can't really combat it just because you can't combat it. However, you can tell, a young lady, whoever is, being inappropriate with you, like, but that's not my thing, please don't do that. You can politely remove her hands or something like that. But now if you like the aggression as a male, don't get all bitchy and stuff, talk about, oh, I don't want you doing this, but you really kind of digging that she took an aggressive approach. Just roll with it. So it's like, basically don't be immature with it. If some lady pushes up on you and you feeling that you're digging it, then roll with it. But if you're really not, for whatever reason, then you can say, hey, look, I'm not digging this, please, let's squash this, and then keep it pushing. So,
Shit, listen, man, I'm not giving up this dick no more. Like, you gonna have to show me something. You gotta bring me something, especially whenever I get these fleshlights in the mail. Shit, and if the shit is popping like that, I'm taking my ass off. Me and my dick is gonna be off the market. Ain't no more of that bullshit. Listen, but here's the thing, man. You can, I'm gonna send you articles. Well, I'm gonna send you an article where this female called said that like she was raped. She had like false rape allegations. She finally got caught, but one of the dudes was like, listen, like, I didn't even want to be like her girlfriend, and she got mad and then claimed like I sexually assaulted her, right? So it's just, I think that this situation, if it doesn't stop, it's going to be like, if there's no thorough investigation, if we can't look at the history of the people who are making these claims, and if they're claiming sexual allegations, and there's no police report like right then and there, then I mean there needs to be steps here, because out of all the guys who are doing dumb shit, there's probably some dudes who are who haven't done anything that is getting in trouble, right? So if I don't know when this train is going to stop. You know what I mean? It's just crazy because, like, me being groomed at an early age about this shit, I see like other people who are not black who are losing their fucking minds, because they don't know how to deal with this situation, But like in the black community, at least where I was living at, like, I knew about it and I seen like shit go down that was fucked up. So it kind of made me more aware of like what kind of chicks I should talk to and just different signs, you know. So I'm just grateful that I've never been put in that position and that I never put myself really in that kind of position to get caught up in all that bullshit, you know.
Yeah, but I think also, see, here's the problem with engaging the opposite sex with lustful intention. That is, we, men and women, we do not give ourselves the time to give whoever we are after the time to give us cues and hints to reveal who their character really is. And as a result, we end up like a kite in a hurricane, to quote the dude from the James Bond film. And we're looking up and all of a sudden, like, who is this person? What are they doing? I thought this. Because I believe when we see a person, we just make some natural inferences. It doesn't matter. We look at their facial features. We look at the clothes they're wearing. We're looking at how they talk, how they walk. And from there, we begin to build this artificial list of who and what we're looking at. Unbeknowingly, we may be far off the radar of who we're dealing with. And so I think this is where a lot of the madness goes down. It's like, yes, he or she is attractive. Yes, he or she, you may be feeling the energy they're putting out, but you don't know if they're crazy, if they've got stalker issues, if they've got, like... you don't know
if she is really a she or he is really a he. Like, you don't know.
Here we go. But you know what? In this medically advanced society, you really don't know, right? So when you're just jumping in with your flesh first, and you're not at least giving yourself some time to figure out who you're dealing with, then you end up dealing with the consequences. It's like, you and I are businessmen. We are business owners and stuff like that. And at some point, we've all made some business decisions that weren't thought out, that we thought would just go because we thought it would go like that. And they really didn't go our way. But if we had taken some time to sit back, look at the entire picture, maybe even talk with a mentor, do some research, then this may have gotten us further down the road, and we probably could have either not experienced that, or we could have corrected our actions before it even happened. So that's a consequence that comes with rolling those fast dice. I mean, I think we live in an over-romanticized society where it sounds like almost too good to be true, bro. You're like, man, you're looking on the other side of the club, she's staring you down, you staring her down. You walk over and, a waiter's walking by with a damn martini, you pick it up off the tray, it's not even yours. It's always, you always see that, you're like, man, this is about, you dream of a world that's the reality, but that's not always the truth. A lot of things can go down and go crazy with folks, because if you talk enough with people, you're gonna get a chance to feel them out enough to see, hey, do you want to make this move? Do you not? But I think since everyone has this whole, let me jump in with, my flesh first, they get a lot more roadblocks and they take some dangerous curves that may eventually lead to a crash or, going off of a cliff or sorts like that. Because, I don't know, man. Sometimes when I see, like, some of these people in the media, I'm like, man, they look crazy. Like, they look crazy. Like, I can look at you and tell you're crazy. But nah, your eye, were bamboozled because you're looking at everything you're thinking this and that. So I really think that if people want to do this situationship, friends with benefits, if they just want to live the go fast life, that they're going to have to do a lot more critical thinking of who they are choosing to interact with. Because like I said, I live down in Houston and I've seen some wild things go down, and the stories you start hearing about people, you're like, oh my goodness. So that's just kind of my take on it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you're right. You're right. Listen, dudes, if you out there, don't pursue a chick with your flesh. Like, listen, the best thing that you can do is not let sex control you. When you reach that high of a chi, right? Your mind is not cloudy anymore. You see things at a different light. It's almost like being reborn again. When pussy doesn't control your life, shit, it's gonna change your life, right? So you're gonna approach a situation differently. You're gonna approach a woman differently, right? So here's the thing: you got to be safe. So I would say, listen. One, first thing you do, don't let pussy control you. Two, you got to make sure she has consent. And you got consent. Both of you guys have to have consent, right? And if it moves, just even talk, right? Because the way things are going, you got to make sure the P's and Q's and everything's going down, right? So let's say you do engage, like you guys are about to, you about to take her back to the crib, back to the hotel or whatever you do. Make sure, and I might sound like I'm taking this shit too far, Donald, but I'm saying make sure you have consent papers. You got to have consent papers in your pocket like you have condoms. And the shit has to be detailed, right? She has to write her name. She has to fucking date it. And you do the same. You have a little checkbox, right? Of all the sexual activities that could go down, that you could. What you want? You want a doggy style? You want goddamn tossing salad, sucking toes, anal, spit in my mouth, choke me, frozen ice, frozen fork, fishing line, Hot Wheels that's been dipped in boiling water. Like, all the shit that you into, shit got to be down. And other, if there's some new shit that you want to try, you have that, you sign it, date it, both parties are satisfied, right? So you have that consent, right? Next thing you have is you have condoms. That's 2 C's right there. Consent, condoms, right? So and then the third thing, you need cognac to celebrate both parties being happy, right? So you have cognac, and then you got that liquid courage and everything. And then, last but not least, to cover your tracks, to have the ultimate paper trail. If you take her back to your crib, make sure you have cameras in every fucking room.
I didn't even say that shit.
That's full.
You can fix the cameras, fool.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing. I'm jumping into it. One thing, you have a sign that's visibly seen coming into your house saying this area is under surveillance 24/7. Then you have her acknowledge on camera that she knows that everything is being recorded. Right? So then this works out for you fellas, right? Because if you can afford to have your place in every room cameras, you probably got...
Let me throw a curveball, let you know.
Okay.
Now, what if you all been out, you've been sipping too much of that liquid courage together?
Oh, you don't... No, fuck that. You don't drink until everything's signed. Nope. That's why you do the consent first. You make sure you have your condoms. Then you drink your cognac. Then you guys go in there, right? So, here's the thing about the cameras. You're going to have all the evidence. So if she says claimed rape or whatnot, if you didn't rape her, it's going to be on camera. And you can't be ashamed to show. You know what I mean? So if you went to all that kinky community shit, dildos and getting flogged and shit, yo, just man up and show the shit in court. That, And also, once everything's done and you passed out and she's in your bathroom, you can catch her stealing shit if she's a goddamn thief. Because there are some kleptomaniacs. Right? So you covered. So if you do those 4 C's right there, you good. You are good. Now, here's the thing. You're going to have to see how alcohol plays into your consent. Right? Because she might try to say, well, like I did drink after I signed the contract and like I was doing all this stuff. You might have to talk to a lawyer about that. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, fucking have those 4 C's popping. Like Nick Cannon is coming out, and I had and like, I know people in the tech industry like crazy, right? I got direct contacts with crazy people high up in the tech industry, and I came up with this idea of a consent app, right?
Okay, I like it.
Then I won't tell you the details on here because motherfuckers might steal it. But I heard that Nick Cannon is coming out with one. So depending on how Nick Cannon does his, if he doesn't do his like my idea, I'm gonna just go ahead and just jump in and just do it, right? But a consent app would be fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? Because you can have all that shit that I was just talking about on your app, and then, swipe, autograph, boom, boom, take a picture. You're on the phone. Hey, we consent to all this shit. You know what I mean? And then, you do what you do. You put your fucking ball in your mouth and you get on the sex swing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my mom, she's all about the whole pro-consent. She has drilled into me a long time, but she doesn't really, she takes it home not only from the perspective of males getting consent, but males request consent, but if a lady asks, like, for consent as well, that you have to look at it. And I do believe that if people are going to go out of their way to set up situationships, that they're going to set up these types of deals where they engage with people, then they're going to have to be that fire, that passion, that ravenous, that animalistic hype that comes with this. Oh my gosh, I'm about to go from 0 to 100. It's really going to have to say, wait, let's do 30 real quick, and then we'll shift some gears. But I think that, to some degree, I think that's going to be needed. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, look, this is what I want. What do you want? This is how it's going to go down. How are we going to do this? Can you prove this? Can you do that? Things of that sort. My mom was like, hey, she was like, son, let's say you're engaged with someone and they ask you to prove that you had a recent STD test. And would you be offended? Would that ruin the moment? And I was like, first I was like, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a virgin. And, but that didn't go in. Anyway, but I was like, no, you know what? I think that's smart. I mean, what's wrong with asking, like, hey, when's the last time you've been tested? Can you provide proof? Like I told you on Facebook, I keep it in the cloud. If I'm somewhere, hey, man, all I need is a Wi-Fi connection and hit my Google Drive, and bam, I got a PDF for you.
Yeah.
And even a JPEG if you need it.
Yeah.
But I think that you have to definitely take the steps. If you're going to, it's like investing, right? If you're going to make some type of investment, you want to make sure that whatever return you're seeking, it may be long-term, it may be a relationship, it may be a marriage, that you've got a clear path and a clear vision of how you're going to get there. And I think that's the driving point home is no matter what you're trying to do, if you're out here looking for a wife, you're looking for a husband, you're looking for just a girlfriend, you're looking for friends with benefits, like, just be honest up front and saying, this is what I want, these are the terms of agreement, and this is how we're going to get down. And if things like emotions, which we know, Baba, they're going to come through, get in the way, then let's sit down.
In Article 3.
I've had some friends of mine turn situationships and, friends with benefits to beautiful marriages that are flourishing with kids and they're building empires, and, they just sat down and had a song. So I just think, man, at the end of the day, adults need to be fucking adults. Like, talk it out. Be honest with one another. Don't hide. Just lay all the cards out on the table. Like, if you a dude and you saying, hey, look, I got a bunch of other chicks on the team, hey, tell us straight up, hey, if you're not the only woman in the picture, I don't think that makes you no less of a man. People say that's dumb. I was like, no. My thing is, if you let people see the full picture and you give them the opportunity and the chance to make a decision based on seeing everything versus creating like a Jedi mind trick, man, you'd be surprised what you can get if you're just straight up honest.
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that honesty goes a long way. Now, honesty doesn't mean you're going to always do what you want, but honesty, I think, on both parties' ends, can keep a lot of the bullshit out of the way.
No, that's true. Like, I'm honest with, with like chicks that I guess I used to talk to or trying to talk to me or whatnot, and what I can say with my experience of being honest is that you might come off as like a dickhead or an asshole, but they're gonna appreciate you being honest, and you will avoid a lot of bullshit,
Absolutely.
You will definitely avoid a lot of bullshit. You might be alone. But you're going to avoid a lot of bullshit. And I just had a stream of consciousness, and I was like, you know what? Why I think like a lot of dudes are gonna gravitate like to sex robots, AIs, virtual reality, is because like, have you ever? Okay, I'm gonna put myself in this. Like how can I put this? I was talking to this chick, and she was supposed to come over, but then I masturbated, and then I didn't feel like dealing with her anymore. So I'm just like, listen, dudes are gonna be like, yo, I don't want to deal with this shit. Let me just, okay. Do you? I don't know where that came from. I just wanted to say that shit. But check this out. Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, I don't.
Fuck. Well, they have, they made like this artificial intelligence chick, and she looked just like a human and all that shit, and she was fine. And I would bang her too. I would have banged that robot. But when shit starts happening like that, like, I think, I honestly think dudes are just gonna be like, yo, what the fuck am I dealing with? Like, what the hell is going on? And then I also feel like women won't get as much satisfaction out of dealing with like sex robots and everything, even if it's a tip top of the line, like men will do, because women need that emotional bond. And even if you program most sex bots into being, I guess, learning to, show empathy and all that, females still won't be satisfied. Like, it won't be the same as, like, being emotional to a dude, because a dude is gonna, even though, like, we, how we get, we're just like, oh my God, she's taking so damn long, and, like, you know what I mean? Robots won't be doing that, I think, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like females do get, like, aroused by, being an inconvenience sometimes. I might be sexist or whatnot, but that's how I feel. What do you think about that?
Say that last part one time. You kind of broke up on me. I want to make sure I got it.
I feel like females get a little bit aroused for being an inconvenience for men sometimes.
Once again, you have to watch when you do like this statistical type of grouping in terms of, I think that we all go through, I think everyone goes through that stage where they like, that song, Use Me by Bill Withers, keep on using me until you use me up.
Yeah.
I think everyone goes through that stage at some point where they're like, they like the idea that they call you for that. SZA made a song The Weeknd, right? And that's really what you're just saying, right? Keeping someone satisfied for the weekend. You're not really the main. You're not even necessarily the side. You're just not the main. But to say that, depending on where stage you are in your life mentally, where you may be emotionally, where you may even be just hell on the planet, may drive if you like that lifestyle or not. But I do think that when one is in a position of sexual power, didn't Uncle Ben say something about with great power comes great responsibility?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, he did. As Peter had to find out because he lost his uncle, but that's another story. But I think, people like to engage that, they want to use that for some time. But to say yes directly to your question or to your statement, I'm not going to say yes, but I'm just going to add my own, addendums to it, just in case I decide to run for president in, 20 years.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Man, whenever I make a blank statement like all women or whatever, it's just, I don't mean every single fucking one of them. There might be a small percentage that it doesn't fall under, but fuck it. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? I'm not it just is. It just is. Listen, if you know me, I'm not a fucking asshole who hate women. I actually fucking enjoy and I adore them. And I think they're beautiful. But at the same time, I don't want to be putting up with some extra bullshit that I don't have to. So shit, really, we covered a fucking lot, We talked about consent, sex robots, goddamn fleshlights, all kinds of shit. Is there anything else you would like to say before we go?
Man, B, I think before we roll up out of here, I think I think honesty is really the key. Honesty and time, right? Everyone just wants to slide in DMs and try to set situations up, and they're not getting the full picture. Just communicate. Damn it, we went from writing on walls and in the dirt to being able to beam a signal halfway across the planet in the blink of an eye. So we just need to communicate better with each other, no matter what we're trying to get out of the other person, right? If we want love, fine. If we want sex, fine. If we want just someone that can make a hot meal every once in a while, fine. But just be open, be honest about what you want, and even if your terms of agreement change, well, negotiate your terms of agreement. We do it with our cell phone every time we want the latest iPhone. We do it every time we want to upgrade our car, we want to upgrade our apartments, or get the latest and greatest of XYZ. Let us just negotiate the terms of agreement. And if there's any addendums along the way, let's go talk about it. And if there can't be an agreement, then you go your separate ways and life is what it is. But then also, don't use power and affluency to try to dominate the situation. If you are a wealthy CEO tycoon, hey, look, cool. You got money, you do all those things, but you don't have to say, well, if you want these dollars, you need to do no. You just be you, right? And if being you, if you've got to use your power and influence to get what you want, then you already suck. You should be able to just be who you are, and everyone can do what they want to do. So just be safe, be smart, and just keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, I agree with you. So fellas, I'm speaking to you. If you out there and you need to do some renegotiation and everything, make sure that you are not controlled by sex. Because when a woman can't put sex on the table, she's going to have to put other reliable resources on there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there who fucking get caught up in sex and they fucking get cloudy. Go into a situation with a clear mind. And also, make sure if you you go your separate ways, that you're not living with her or whatnot, because she can still get your ass. But other than that, we about to be out. This is another episode of Talk is Cheap FM, and I'm going to end my episode like I always end my episodes, which is by saying, teach people how to treat you. Sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you. I'm your host, Baba Tuesday. Donald was on the line, and we out. Peace.
Peace.